If you are here for the tonight's webinar, Avoid Burnout, How Taking Care of You is the First Step in Meeting the Needs of the Whole Student, then you are in the right place. Good evening. My name is Jessica Brinkley, and I'm a Senior Program Policy Specialist with the National Education Association's ESP Quality Department. And I, along with my colleague, Grace Wong Freeman, also a Senior Program Policy Specialist, will be serving as your moderators for this evening's webinar. So we welcome you to tonight's session. This presentation is brought to you by NEA's ESP Quality Department, housed in NEA Center for Professional Excellence in Student Learning. The ESP Quality Department represents and advocates for over 400,000 NEA Education Support Professional members, also referred to as ESP. ESP serve as fellow educators in the school community and play an important role in supporting the whole student. Our strategic focus is to elevate ESP careers by developing, implementing, and promoting best practices, policies, and professional supports that equip ESP with the knowledge and skills to become empowered leaders, accomplished professionals, and members of a high-quality workforce prepared to meet the needs of the whole student. We are again welcoming you to the Avoid the Burnout, How Taking Care of You is the First Step in Meeting the Needs of the Whole Student webinar. I would like to now pass things over to our wonderful presenter for tonight, Amy Morin, and she will introduce herself. Welcome, Amy.
Thanks, Jessica. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for coming to my this webinar tonight. Everybody can see my screen, I hope. So my name is Amy Morin. I am an ESP from Massachusetts. I'm actually the vice president of the Lexington Education Association, and I'm the first ever ESP vice president on my local executive board. I have been working in education for 8 years as a paraeducator, working in the intensive learning program. I am the wellness champion for my school, and I am a single mom and a self-proclaimed self-care guru. And I also want to preface this webinar by saying I'm not an expert at all in these, and all the things that I share with you today are from my own life experiences and the strategies that I use to help me find balance in my life. Webinar objectives. So I always appreciate starting webinars or workshops that have clear objectives. If you don't learn anything new from this webinar, I hope you at least are able to recognize areas within you that you can work on in order to grow. So I want you to learn some new strategies that will help overcome fatigue, stress, and burnout by using self-care, time management, and mindfulness. To create goals by examining your inner self, which will help maintain balance in your life and overall well-being. We're going to watch some videos, find commonality amongst the participants here through chat, and put into practice what you just learned. I want you to leave the webinar feeling renewed, refreshed, and ready. So let's make 2022 your best year yet. All right, so here's some norms. I know that this is webinar style, so it's just me presenting, but in the chat, please be respectful and kind. Please be present. And this is a safe place, so what you share here in the chat, it's gonna stay here. And everybody's experience is valid, and I want you to bring your authentic self. And go ahead and write in the chat any other norms that you can think of that I haven't listed. I can go back to the other slide if there's something else that you want to know or that you think that is important to our webinar tonight. And I'm ready for the poll. Jessica or Grace. So let's do a check-in because I want to see how you guys, as my audience, is feeling. So are you feeling awful? Is today or this year have just been so crazy? Are you somewhat awful? Like it's, going bad, but it's not as bad as it could be? Is it kind of so-so, not awful, not amazing? Are you kind of amazing, somewhat amazing? Or are you feeling really good? We'll give you a few minutes to vote on that now. All right, so everybody's pretty much, there's a few people who are somewhat awful, some people feeling somewhat amazing, but a majority is feeling not awful, not amazing, kind of just like here, right? I get it. I totally get it. So when thinking of life in balance, there are three key components that I like to think of. These things are continuous and they flow into each other. They aren't meant to be first do this and then do that, but more they are important to balancing, and they're the key components that we're going to talk about today. There's self-care, time management, mindfulness, and you'll notice how it's like a continuous circle. And that's how we balance life. So, self-care. These are two visuals that I like to look at sometime because I think Jack Nicholson is hilarious. And it says, "I'm holding up just fine. How's everyone else doing?" And then Audre Lorde has this wonderful quote that I just repeat to myself over and over again. "Caring for myself is not self-indulgence, it's self-preservation, and that is an act of political warfare." But the definition for self-care is the practice of taking action to preserve or improve one's own health. The practice of taking an active role in protecting one's own well-being and happiness, in particular during periods of stress. So, if you have a piece of paper handy, what I'd like you to do is draw this diagram on your paper, and you're gonna portion it out into 4 quadrants. One you should label mental, the other one physical, the next one emotional, and then spiritual. The purpose of this is to encourage care of self in all of these dimensions. So once you have divided and labeled your sections, you should write in each section what you do to take care of yourself in that dimension of your life. So for example, for mental, you might write something like journaling. For physical, you could do going for a walk or having a massage. For emotional, you could put laughing. For spiritual, you could do praying or yoga. So look at what you wrote and think about whether or not you'd like to be doing more in that section. I'm going to give you guys a few minutes to go ahead and fill that out. And then if you want to take it a step further, you can create a goal to further your self-care in that quadrant by writing the goal next to or inside the quadrant. And if we were in person, we would be sitting in a circle, and each person would be having a talking piece that we could, pass along, and everybody got to talk about something that they do in each quadrant of their life to help self-care. But we're not in person, sadly. So we only have the chat. So if you wanted to write in the chat, you can. Something that you do to take care of yourself, whether it be mental, physical, emotional, or spiritual. I said laughing for emotional because this year has just been super crazy, as you all know, and the burnout is real. And each morning I need to wake up and watch funny videos because honestly, it's the only thing that gets me through the day. I need to start my day with my cup of coffee, my puppy next to me, and laughing at videos of just either funny memes or videos from bored teachers, which we're going to see a video later on. And it just really gets me in the mood to be able to go to school and teach the students, because it's just been such a crazy year. So it's okay if you guys are still working on this. Leave it out. You can continue to work on it. And even if you work on it or leave it, near your nightstand next to your bed and decide like, oh, I'm going to fill some of this out. Just know that if you have a lot in the mental quadrant, but not a lot in the spiritual, try to balance it out, or think of ways like, how can I make this all even so that I feel like I'm giving each aspect of my life like the self-care that it needs. So next we're going to watch some videos. Hopefully it works. So these are two videos from Shetty. He's a British author and a purpose coach. He's also a former monk. And later on, I'll share his social media handles and his website with you. So again, as I told you, I love to watch videos. So sometimes when I'm feeling sad or in need of inspiration, I like to watch some of his videos and they instantly make me feel better. His videos make you think like a monk, which is a different, fresh, new perspective and approach. Here we go.
Every day we recharge our phones, but we forget to recharge ourselves. Let's just say we slept well the night before, which means we start our day with 100% charge. When we wake up in the morning, we roll over and 80% of us check our smartphones before we brush our teeth. We scroll through social media, we browse through emails. That takes away 10% of our energy. Let's say we now have 90% charge left. We then commute to work. We spend our day in the office, in meetings, interacting with colleagues, finishing off projects and assignments. We now have 40% charge left. On the way home, we commute through traffic or on the train, and that takes away another, let's say 10%. We now have 30% charge left. We come home and switch on Netflix, talk to someone about what our day was like, and sometimes we lose another 10%. We now have 20% charge left. At 20% on our phones, usually the charge bar goes red. We get an alert. We get a message that tells us that we only have 20% battery left. The question is, do we notice when our charge is at 20% or 10%? There are always signs from our bodies, our brains, our minds. But are we tuned in? One of the best things we can do to recharge is to exercise. The hardest part of any workout is actually the 15 minutes leading up to it. We come up with 15 reasons why we don't want to sweat, and we change our mind 15 different times. CNN reports that when you work out, your brain creates more serotonin, which sends messages to your nervous system of happiness and well-being. Working out for 30 to 40 minutes every day can recharge our battery by 20%. Meditation is an incredible way to recharge our batteries. Exactly what the gym does for the body, meditation can do for the mind. Meditation gives us downtime, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Meditation also directly impacts your entire nervous system by reducing your body's productions of stress-related chemicals such as cortisol. Meditation is a great way to recharge and can take you back up 20%. We've all heard about incredible morning routines, but the one thing that can make a huge difference to your recharge is your evening routine. 35% of us are not getting the recommended 7 hours of sleep per night. Remember, every body and mind is different. Make sure you find the amount of time you need to get that serious battery recharge. And the 75-year study by Harvard found that beyond anything, the real sense check for happiness and meaning in life was relationships, connections, interactions with depth that are fulfilling and full of joy. Making time for deep, meaningful interactions every day can give the recharge our battery seriously needs. What if we recharged ourselves as much as we recharge our phones? Because if we don't, we'll end up like one of our phones in the bottom of some drawer in our home. Every day we
Sorry. I need to exit full screen and it's not letting me.
Try pressing escape.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Hmm?
I said I appreciate that. Okay, so now what I'd like you to do is go into your chat, go into the chat and let me know your initial reactions. What did we think about that video? Now that I can see the chat. Makes sense. I feel like it's so true too. It's like we don't think about, we're so busy like trying to lift others up or trying to take care of other people that we just don't even think about ourselves. And I love the fact that he said that the first 15 minutes is like, if you can get past those 15 minutes leading up to your workout, you're golden. And I think for me personally, like that's what I need, because I always, have a million excuses why I can't, get outside and go for a walk. And I want to challenge you guys to take what Jay Shetty said and really try to recharge by doing, like I told you, my morning routine of drinking coffee, having my puppy next to me, and watching videos. Like I've been doing that consistently now for, I think, since September. And it's like just a routine for me now. All right, so let's go ahead and watch the other video. Oops.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard Delta Airlines Flight 2998 bound for Atlanta, Georgia, with continued service to Dallas Fort Worth International Airport. All carry-on items should now be stowed securely either in an
Hopefully you never have to do this, but we've all heard the announcement to put your oxygen mask on first. But sometimes in life, we even forget to breathe. We're so busy trying to please others, we forget to fuel ourselves. We're so busy trying to help others that we forget to help ourselves. We don't put our mask on first because we think that's self-centered. But the definition of self-centered is someone who believes that the world revolves around them. When you put your mask on first, you're just showing and recognizing that when you prioritize your growth, you're now able to serve other people. Taking care of yourself is not self-centered, it's self-dependent. It's recognizing that when you grow, when you invest, when you work on yourself, you just have more to give someone else. How can you give something you don't have? How can you give a happiness when you're not experiencing happiness? How can you be joyous when you're not experiencing joy? And how can you give love when you don't feel love? When you put your mask on first, it means you understand that you need to get if you want to give. It means you understand that you need to breathe if you want to live. And it means we understand that we have to fill our batteries if we want to charge others. So many people tell me that they feel guilty for taking time out for themselves, that they feel bad that they can't be there for their friends or their family. But what's the point of being with someone but not actually with them? What's the point of being with them but taking negative energy? What's the point of being physically with them but mentally distant? What's the point of being close in proximity but pushing them away with our energy? So often we spend time with people because we don't want to make them feel bad, but we take a bad energy with us into that environment that just pushes them away further. If you want to spend time with your children, give them the best of you. That may mean that you need some space to go and work on yourself so that you can give them your best. If you want to give more quality time to your partner, maybe take out a little time to give yourself space so that you can go into that relationship and actually give more. Because when we don't take that time for ourselves, when we don't take that space for ourselves, we get burnt out. We get overworked. We run out of steam and energy, and people get our leftovers. And we think that's better than taking out time to give them our best. If a mother or father need to take some time out to give their kids more, does that mean they love them less?
All right, let's do the same thing. Put in the chat, what do you think about that video? I'm glad it was resonating with some people. It definitely is one of the videos that I rewatch over and over. And I think what really resonates with me is the fact that he said, your leftovers is better. Like, we think our leftovers is better than taking the time for ourselves and getting ourselves, focus on us, and then giving the space for us so that we can give more to somebody else. And that's really what resonated with me. Yeah, and I agree, Heather. It's okay not to shame or blame what we do for ourselves. I agree. All right, let's move on. So, thinking outside the box care. So, here are a few examples of self-care that are outside the norms. Like, everybody's like, oh, go take a bath, or go, my favorite is go food shopping, or go shopping by yourself without your children or your partner. Like, that's going to make everything, better for you. But sometimes that's just not enough, right? So here are some ways that you can take care of yourself, and it's outside the normal. Digging deeper in whatever you're working on or doing. So say you're buying a present for somebody, like if it's one of your really good friends and you know that they like chocolate. So you're thinking of, oh, I'll just go to the store and pick some chocolate and everything will be fine. If you dig deeper and you think, man, how much does this person mean to me? How much joy does this person bring to my life? You're going to end up buying something, even if it doesn't have to cost a lot of money, but you just know that it's going to be so much meaningful to you because you value that person. Another one is set boundaries. If there's a relationship or a friendship or a coworker or administrator that just drains you, be true to yourself and respect your time. Your time is valuable and you're not going to get it back. So the more you can set those boundaries with whatever's draining you, you're just going to be better for it. Forgiving yourself is the key to self-love. I will share an example with you. Last week, my son tried out for the middle school basketball team. There were 60 kids on only 12 spots. And I knew he wasn't the best player, but I was like, you know what? He's going to get it. And he didn't get it. And I had a meltdown and I was crying and freaking out. And I was like, I'm the worst mom ever because I don't have a backup plan. I usually have backup A, B, and C, and I don't have anything. I don't know what I'm going to do. And I was losing my mind and unconsolable. And then I had to stop and think and say, forgive yourself. You're only human. And it's one thing. He's going to forget about it. It's a life lesson. Another one is, it was Ash Alves who said, forgive yourself for your past transgressions. You know better now. Accept that you will fall short at times and you may stray away from your values. What matters most is how you use it to do better next time. Offer yourself another chance to get it right. And so I challenge you all to please forgive yourself for the past and things that you're like, oh my gosh, why did I do that? Because you need to love yourself, and that's forgiving yourself is huge. Saying no is another big one. If you're used to being on every single committee in your union, or you are, you go above and beyond to make sure that everybody at school has everything that they need. And then somebody's like, oh, by the way, can you do this too? Say no, because if you just keep on giving and giving and giving and not getting anything back to fill up your bucket, like your bucket's just going to keep draining and you're never going to get it to stay full. It's okay to say no, and it helps with the boundaries and thinking about what you need. Life is too short, so I indulge in your favorite food and beverage. I mean, do it in moderation. Don't go crazy. But if you know that like chocolate cake is what's going to get you through the day, buy that chocolate cake, slice it up into portions so that you have one piece per week and really go at it. Gratitude and being thankful really helps with self-care. And we're going to do a lot on that later, but just being thankful for everything you have and the world around you really puts in a different perspective. Pay it forward and be spontaneous are also good things. Just going to check out the chat because it looks like we got some people saying some stuff. And yeah, forgiveness is a huge one. And like I said, I struggle with all of these things daily. So, I think recognizing it and naming it and thinking of ways you can be better. And I always, think you guys should always go back to that circle, even if you're thinking about it in your head and not writing it down, depending on, your style. Think about the mental, the emotional, the physical, and just really think about different things that you can do. All right. All right, so another video I have for you is from bored teachers. I assume a lot of people have seen this video. It is all over social media. And I said, a sad reality being an educator in school year 2021-2022. And I want to preface this video by saying that we are all educators. This much we know is true. So I apologize in advance for the teacher word when you watch this. I want to challenge you to change the word in your head to educator, because this video applies to all of us, not just teachers or licensed educators. So let's watch it.
It's no surprise to anyone that we have a major teacher shortage this year. Teachers are walking out of schools this year at an alarming rate. And you want to know why? I'll tell you exactly why teachers are quitting. Coming home mentally, physically, and emotionally exhausted. Some teachers are coming home having endured being hit, kicked, bit, slapped by students. And we're exhausted to the point where we can't even take care of our own kids because we are so drained at the end of the day because of all the stuff we're dealing with at school this year. The kids this year, they don't know how to play with each other. They don't know how to stop playing with each other. They don't know how to sit down, be quiet, to not call their teacher's name 100 times. We have had to reacclimate them to being in school again. Some of them haven't been in school for 2 years. I don't understand why we're just picking back up business as usual. We are absolutely dog tired and exhausted. We have to do something because what we're doing is not working. We got admin and district officials shouting practice self-care while continually adding a million things to our plates. If y'all really cared about us practicing self-care, we wouldn't be made to feel bad when we need to take a mental health day or when we have to take a personal day off. I mean, you got teachers out here coming to school mentally sick, coming to school physically sick, because their admin make them feel bad if they have to miss a day because there's a teacher shortage. I shouldn't have to sacrifice my health because y'all don't have any teachers. Our prep time is gone because there's a teacher shortage and a substitute teacher shortage. So 9 times out of 10, we are having to cover a class during our prep period. So when am I supposed to lesson plan, grade these papers, get prepared for teacher observations? And I don't even know why y'all are still doing teacher observations. We've got kids missing an entire class period, missing the first part of class because they didn't have a bus driver to come pick them up because of the bus driver shortage. We got kids missing class, and we got parents that are upset with us as their teacher that they weren't in class. I can't control that they didn't have a bus driver to come pick them up. But all of these shortages, they are affecting these students' education this year. How do you expect us to teach and get our kids on grade level when half of our class is late because they didn't have a bus driver? And last but not least, teacher pay. Now more than ever, teachers are looking for a way to leave education, like exit stage left immediately. The situation is that dire. There are a lot more jobs that pay way better than education, and you don't have to deal with crazy parents and power-hungry admin or district officials that have not seen the broadside of a classroom in about 20 years. The sad reality is there are so many teachers in this country that can't afford to pay their bills because they make so little money being in education. I mean, the amount of teachers that have to work a second job just to be able to pay their bills, astronomical. So a lot of teachers are starting to realize the pay the amount of stress that we have to deal with, not worth it anymore.
So, has anybody seen that video or initial thoughts about it? Like, I know she was talking about teachers, but as I said before, we're all educators and it is a problem everywhere. It's not just the bus driver shortage or the substitute teacher shortage, like it's everywhere. And like, I'm sure everybody's burnt out, and it's like you said, yes, it's a huge problem. So give a few more minutes to have any more thoughts about this. And I think she brought up some valid points about what we were talking about earlier, where it's, you know, the admin and district officials saying practice self-care, but now they're also putting more stuff on your plate, right? Like there are new programs being implemented this year. There are, you know, you're covering all these different classes because you have nobody to help you. And that they're saying, oh, go, you know, take care of yourself. But then when you call in sick, they make you feel bad. So you're showing up sick. But now that you watched the video, I want to pose this question to you. Why do you stay? Why do you do it? What drives you to show up every day for your students? So you can write that on a piece of paper. You can share that in the chat. Try to dig deep. Try not to say, because I have to, I have no other option. Think about it. Really, truly, like, why do you do it? Like, there's so many other jobs that you could do. Like she said, less stress. And a lot of people are thinking like it's not worth it. So you know what? I'm just gonna stay. But whatever reason you have, whether you're writing it in the chat, whether you're writing it on a piece of paper, this is that missing link. This is the key to your success. And this is the reason you're an educator. So another good thing to do is to write on a sticky note what you're saying, either on a piece of paper, you can transfer it to a sticky note, or what you wrote in the chat, you could put it on a sticky note, put it up on your mirror, or put it somewhere that you'll be able to see it every day. Because sometimes when you're like feeling overwhelmed and you just had it, like you're like, I can't do it anymore. Look at that sticky note, and it's going to bring back the memories of and the feelings of, okay, this is why I do it. This is the reason why I show up every day. This is what's going to drive me. You guys can continue to answer in the chat. I'm going to move on. So now let's talk about time management. So time management is defined as the ability to use one's time effectively or productively, especially at work. Time management is the key to efficient working. So, nobody is too busy. It's all about priorities. So let's think of all the different things that we do. These are just the things that I do. Running errands, time with my partner, Zoom meetings, class, my kids, work, second job, third job, sleeping, cooking, committees, my parents, my sister, and other family members. This is a lot, right? This is a lot of stuff, and this is just my stuff. And I'm sure there's stuff that I don't have or that I didn't think of that maybe you could think of. So if you want to go ahead and write in the chat anything that's not listed here that takes up your time, I'll give a few minutes to do. You guys can do that. Housekeeping, yep. But you know, I think sometimes either we as educators or, you know, even if we're talking to our friends, we're like, oh, you know, we're too busy. We can't do another thing. We can't do one more thing. But it really is all about prioritizing. And more than one of these could be your main priority, right? So like if, you know, your kids need you like all day, all night, like they need to be your priority right now, that's okay for them to be your priority. Or then, you know, the next time, like you have your commitment to your job, you have to go to your second or third job, you know, that could be the priority for the day. And it's okay to have more than one priority, but it's important to rotate these things around. So like if you notice you're always like picking up extra shifts, or you're always spending time with the kids, but your partner's being neglected, or you never have a chance to see your parents because you're busy working or you're with your kids and partner, like rotate them around, like notice it, name it, like, okay, I have been neglecting this part of my life that I, you know, should check on my mom and see how she's doing. And just try to make each of these things a priority at least sometime in your week or in your day, because that's again how you're going to balance life and how you're going to get through things, because everybody's kind of going to be being taken care of along with your self-care. All right, so strategies for time management. I need to also preface this by saying I am terrible with time management. I feel like I have no time to do anything. Somehow I get it all done. And this visual is a really great visual to kind of like look at different strategies that you could use. So I changed the word teacher to educators, because again, we're all educators. So number 1 is prioritize, as we were talking about. Number 2 is use a planner. 3 is to take breaks. 4 is to just say no, which we've already talked about. Number 5 is no distractions. 6, small chunks. 7, throw it out. 8, delegate. 9, let perfection go. And 10, group tasks. So again, I really like this visual because it encompasses so many tips and strategies that you need in order to find balance. Just saying no is hard. And I'm not going to lie, I think as educators, we constantly give from an empty cup when there's so much power in saying no. And I know we already talked about that. Another big one for me is to delegate. Don't do for others what they can do for themselves. And by delegating, you're sharing that load. So have your kids help you with the laundry or the dishes. You know, if you are in, like, as the vice president, I'm in charge of all the committees. Unfortunately, I'm on every committee because I have to be, but I try to delegate at least one leader that I can see in each of these committees to say, like, listen, I need you to run this because they're more than capable of doing it. I shouldn't have to do it because they are, it's not, I shouldn't have to do it, but I need that time for myself, right? So if they're capable of stepping up and being the leader for that committee, I can just help, plan the meeting or get people together, but they can, run it, and it takes, stuff off my plate, and then I don't have to do it anymore. So I have more time to do other things. So my favorite out of all of these tips has to be number 10. So grouping tasks. And most time management experts will tell you that multitasking is not good for time management, but I completely disagree with this one. I need to be able to do multiple things at a time in order to get everything done. And I think by switching my mindset and thinking of it as grouping instead of multitasking, it works. So like during recess, I work with kindergarten students in the intensive learning program. So I have students mainly on the autism spectrum. And this started, I guess, last year during COVID. One of my students loved to go on the swings, and I also love to go on the swings. It's one of my favorite playground activities. So we would swing together during recess, and I felt so much better when I would swing versus when I would not go on the swings. And I realized it's because I was exercising and really getting, energy out, and it was putting me in a good mood because it brought me back to when I was a child and I loved to swing. So, even though I was at work and I was doing my job, I was still exercising and, taking care of myself. So it was, if you think about doing that, and I know a lot of people multitask by sometimes I listen to music and I dance in my kitchen as I'm cooking, or I'm, cleaning and listening to music and dancing and cleaning. I don't know. It's just kind of my thing. But is there anything else that you guys can think of? If you want, you can put it in the chat. Why do I still make lunch for my middle schooler? Yeah, that's, I love to say I can tell everybody all day long, why do you do that for other people? You should just delegate that. And then I am guilty of that one too. I do laundry. I've been really trying to have my kids help because I'm they're also middle school age, and I'm you guys, I can't do it all, right? So that's a big one too. Are there any other time management tips or tricks that anybody want to talk about before in the chat before we move on to our next section? Yeah, walking while you listen to podcasts. And I think that's Jay Shetty says to use time. I think that, grouping those tasks are vital to really kind of getting things done, but not seeming like it's so overwhelming. Go make your feet happy. Love that, Grace. Setting a time limit. Yeah, I love that people are bringing this back to their profession and like, how can I have my students help organize the classroom? Good one, Tracy. Because I think what's important to know is these skills can be helpful in self-care, it can be helpful in your job, it can be helpful in your personal life. Like it all intertwines with all of the life and how you balance your life. All right. So next, we are going to talk about mindfulness. So mindfulness is defined as the quality or state of being conscious or aware of something, a mental state achieved by focusing one's awareness on the present moment while calmly acknowledging and accepting one's feelings, thoughts, and bodily sensations, used as a therapeutic technique. So, these are two visuals that I like to use when I'm thinking of mindfulness. Because being present in the moment is an amazing feeling, but it takes practice. It definitely doesn't just happen. But once you stop thinking about the future, worrying about everything that you have to do or everything that's going on or, the craziness of your life, and you just focus on the now, you'll become less stressed, more relaxed, and I promise you, you'll feel much happier. And so as you can see from these visuals, it's all connected in overall self-care. Like I told you guys in my diagram, under emotional, laughing is like a big one for me. But they have smile, cloud gazing, exercising, walking barefoot, spending time with nature, opening your mind, forgive, taking your dog for a walk, taking a bath, cooking, plants, either you're planting or whatever, chatting with friends, listening, positive thinking, and just breathing, just taking a breath. And that's how you're going to be happier. You're going to feel more connected, calmer. You're more focused, resilient, relaxed. You feel alive. You sleep better, less stress. Like sometimes when you just take a moment to breathe and take a step back and kind of go out of yourself, you really start to, get through it. And as I said, I'm working on it so hard. Like mindfulness is a struggle for me, and I'm trying to be mindful every day, every opportunity I can. I really try to be open-minded and to think of the good in everything. And this is where gratitude really comes into play, because when you're thankful and you're thinking of, all the goodness and positive vibes and, things in your life that are going well for you, it kind of outweighs the negativity sometimes. So I'm going to go ahead and check the chat because I feel like whoops. Sorry about that. Yeah, smiling. It's my favorite. Nice job, Annie. I had a teacher colleague that I worked with when she was a second grade teacher, and she had a big sign on her door that said, "Smiles are contagious." And I always thought, you know, okay. And then whenever she would talk to somebody, she'd say, "Remember, smiles are contagious." And she'd always have a big smile on her face. And it's like, at first I was like, okay, that's strange, but like, it really is, like, they're contagious. And like, when you see somebody smiling, like, you can't help but just to smile back. And I feel like that's like smiling for other people is what laughing is for me, right? Like they say laughter is the best medicine, but yeah, walking barefoot, those are some great ones. Yeah, thinking of family and good times. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is a meditation video. So, as I told you, I'm not good at mindfulness. I'm still a beginner in all of this, and I cannot meditate. I'm not there yet, but Netflix offers a whole series on guided meditations, which I've been actively trying to do at least once a month. I probably should be doing it more once a week, but with all the time, right, that we were saying we have all this time, I try to get it in when I can, because it's not my strong suit. I'd rather be, do some other things of self-care to focus on, mindfulness rather than meditate. But in any case, as I said, Netflix offers this Headspace series. You can Google Headspace. I'm also going to provide a link that has the Headspace web page, but this one is on self-love. And like I said, it's a guided meditation. So I want you guys to just sit back, relax, take it in, and then we will talk about it after. So I hope you enjoy.
Hi, and welcome to Headspace as we explore a practice of self-love. As you go about your day, there are many things that may pull for your attention from many different angles. These variables can get the best of you if you're not careful to provide ample opportunity to connect with yourself. When you make time, as you are now, to connect with your self-love, you can strengthen your ability to be in tune with your truth and how best to show up and navigate your daily life. In this practice of self-love, I invite you to explore a natural love that lives in your heart. The goal is to utilize it to nurture your self-worth and to recognize the abundance of love that's available to you at all times. For now, keep the eyes open and make yourself as comfortable as possible. Whether you're sitting upright or lying down, find yourself becoming very still as you bring attention to the weight of your body where it makes contact with the surface, and allow yourself to completely settle in. Allow the body to feel the foundation of your posture and feel completely supported by the stability that Earth is offering you. Let's now bring attention to the head and allow our facial muscles to also relax. Starting at the top, allow the muscles of the forehead to soften and relax. Doing the same for the muscles in your eyebrows and all the muscles surrounding the eyes. If possible, allow the eyelids to lightly close No muscles required. Release any tension in the nose. Soften the cheeks and relaxing the jawbones, making sure the teeth are not biting. Relax the lips and soften the muscle of the tongue. Also relax the tension in the chin, if any. Allow yourself to feel at ease in this moment. And bring your attention to your natural breathing pattern at the entrance of the nostrils. Noticing your inhalation and noticing your exhalation. We are not judging the breath. We are simply noticing the flow of breath. I invite you to do your best to remain focused on the flow of your breath. We may not notice when the mind begins to wander. When we do, we acknowledge our mindfulness in the moment and kindly invite the mind's attention to this moment. Bringing the focus right back to the breath, noticing as you breathe in, and notice as you breathe out. Let's now focus on the power of self-love and utilize the mind to envision you living well. Repeat the following terms in your mind and imagining yourself living in this way. Experiencing health and well-being. Experiencing happiness and laughter. Experiencing love and peace. Experiencing safety and living with ease. Just imagine you living in this way, full of health and happiness, full of love and peace, while safely experiencing this life with ease. You're worthy of your self-care. You're worthy of your self-compassion. You are worthy of this time that you have given yourself. You are worthy of your self-love. I invite you to bring attention back to the flow of your breath. Noticing as you breathe in and noticing as you breathe out. Allow the breath to be full as you inhale, and allow your self-love to exude throughout your body as you exhale. Inhaling feeling empowered by the breath. And exhaling, feeling the power of your self-love. Inhaling, feeling empowered by the breath. And exhaling, feeling the power of your self-love. It is important to remember this self-love lives in your heart. It is always available to you. Keeping the attention on the breath. Feeling the power of this breath as you inhale. Feeling the power of your self-love as you exhale. I now invite you to honor yourself with a sense of gratitude for the time you have given yourself in this moment. Feeling your presence, feeling your breath, feeling your love. When you are ready, bring attention to the physical body and gently open the eyes. May you touch, move, and inspire with your love.
All right, so how did it go? I'd love to hear initial reactions about what you thought of that. Was it easy? Was it hard? Was it needed? Has anybody ever done anything like this before? Has anybody seen this video or practiced meditation? When I have presented this workshop in the past, I did a feeling stressed guided meditation video, but I felt like this one about self-love was more impactful, and it just really kind of tied in all of the aspects of everything I talked about today. And really, when we think about our students and giving them the best of us, we have to remember that it starts with us, right? In that if we don't love ourselves or we don't value ourselves, how are we going to show our students that they matter, right? We have to practice that self-love and that self-care in order to support the needs of our students and think about the whole child. There's that Calm app. Headspace is what this video was. a lot of people use different apps to help them sleep, help them through tough times. And if meditation is something that you don't normally do, but you felt really relaxed after this, maybe you can incorporate it into your self-care regimen, and you can put it in that spiritual or even emotional quadrant of your diagram that you filled out earlier, so that when you're feeling stressed and you're feeling like you need a moment to take care of you, but other self-care is not working, meditation, as Jay Shetty said in the previous video that we watched, meditation does for the mind what exercise does for the body. So I want you guys to think about that during your self-care. And that is my presentation. And I really hope that you guys learned something new. Or if you didn't learn anything new, as I said, I hope that you are able to look at things differently, try to gain a different perspective. And I appreciate you all for being here. And I appreciate you being an educator right now in these crazy times, because we need you for our students and for the future generation. And we need you as leaders. So this next slide is going to
Hi,
be,
and welcome
nope,
to
not that
Headspace as
one.
we explore.
Sorry. The next one is my reference page. So here's Jay Shetty's handles for Instagram and Facebook. Board teachers, seriously check them out. Look at their videos on parent-teacher conferences or crazy parent requests. That's literally what I've been watching every morning to get me to go to work, because I deal with some crazy parents and it just resonates with me and I love it. That diagram we did was part of a restorative justice circle forward book that I do through my school, building a restorative school community. If you guys are interested more in restorative justice, definitely Google some things, check out the NEA has some restorative justice stuff. The time management was from a website. Headspace was the meditation we did, and the definitions for the different self-care, time management, and now my brain is mush, right? It's 8:15 or 8:17 and I'm done for the night. But again, thank you so much. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen now, Grace or Jessica, so you guys can go ahead and take it over. Thanks again.
Thank you, Amy. This is Grace. I am Grace Fong-Friedman. I'm a staff person at NEA's ESP Quality Department. And I want to thank you, Amy. I think one of the most relevant things that you said was how self-care takes practice. It doesn't actually come naturally, right? So thank you for that. And I'm going to definitely feel less guilty when I ask my 13-year-old to make her own lunch tomorrow morning so that I can get a little bit of extra sleep. So now I don't feel as guilty about it. So we're actually going to go into the question and answer section. As of now, I only have one question from Tracy Cosmo. So just want to let everyone know that if you have a question for Amy, you'll just want to click on Q&A. It's to the left of where you've been clicking when you're chatting. So if you have a specific question for Amy, go ahead and add that question in Q&A. But I do have a question from Tracy. And I guess I'm going to assume that she just wants your advice, which is, she says, so how do we focus on the now when admin and other staff members are constantly sending reminder emails, such as upload this and, certain scores and things. So that's her question. We do have another question after Tracy's question.
Okay,
Do you want me to repeat it, Amy? Let me know if you need me to repeat any of the questions.
No, that's fine. So Tracy, no, thank you for writing that question. So when you're focusing on the now, right, it's hard when you have all these external factors coming at you. And how are you supposed to navigate? I would say just do your best. Try to set boundaries as one of the things I talked about, like and I think another participant even said, put a time limit, right? Set that time limit. Be like, you know what? I'm only going to check my email in the morning for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, however long it takes in the morning. And then if I'm getting all of these things through the day, I'm going to check it again before I leave work to go home. But those are the only 2 times I'm checking it, because that in itself is part of your self-care. It's taking care of you. It's setting that limit and that boundary, being like, you're not going to overwhelm me and burn me out by asking me throughout the day. And make that clear guideline or that clear expectation. Set that clear expectation with your admin so that they know, okay, Tracy's only going to check her email twice a day. So if it's urgent, I'm going to have to call down to her classroom or go actually have a conversation with her. I hope that's helpful.
Okay, thanks, Amy. That's good advice. Okay, so we have another question from Lindsay, and I don't know that I'm pronouncing her last name correctly, but Rivas. So Lindsay asks, can self-care techniques fit in more than one category for the mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual organizer?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I know it gets like tricky, right? So when you're thinking of, like, say, yoga, right? It could be physical. It could be emotional, right? Because even though you are like physically moving and doing yoga, I wouldn't say you're meditating, but you're in like that headspace where you're mentally cognizant of everything that's going on and you're trying to just like drown it all out and focus on one thing. So I definitely think that you can have more than one thing in different quadrants of that organizer.
Yeah, I agree. But right now I'm not seeing any questions. So I'm going to now hand it off to Jessica. And thank you so much, Amy.
Thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Live a better life.
Yes.
Jessica.
To request a general session-specific certificate of completion as a participant of recorded sessions, please send your request by emailing espqweb@nea.org. All requests must include the session title and the on-screen certificate of completion code. Session certificates will not be provided if your viewer code is not included in the email request. Note, due to limitations in our ability to track attendance after live sessions, requests for personalized certificates will only be provided for participants of live webinars whose attendance can be verified. The certificate received for viewing recorded sessions will be session specific, but will not include personalized names. On behalf of the Center for Professional Excellence in Student Learning's NEA ESP Quality Department, I would like to once again thank our presenter, Amy Morin, for tonight's webinar presentation, and thank all of you for your participation. Stay safe, stay healthy. Good night from the NEA ESP Quality Department.